I'm not even sure.
We were muted.
We were muted.
I don't know what happened to all the settings this morning, but it didn't want to play the camera, and the mic should be going now.
Somebody says, looks like they are trying to fix it. Yes, we are. How about now?
All right, we'll do your whole thing again.
There we go.
We'll go a little late today.
All right. We'll have to edit that because people are not going to watch the replay if they can't hear us.
It's okay. I can edit it.
Be sure to share this out so that way people actually come back. We're here. Sorry, guys. All of our settings were screwed up this morning. We had to reset everything. Anybody that's dealt with technology knows occasionally not your friend. So, welcome to Waste Not Wednesday. We go live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Today it's at 10:10. I'll just say that's the lucky 10:10 today. 10 out of 10.
Oh, nice. I'm not feeling 10 out of 10, but we'll take it.
Zeb hates to be late.
Some of it's my fault.
Valid. It's better when it's your fault, not mine. But hey, like
this is the lateness.
We were at Goodwill this week, and I saw they had a piece of wood with a spoon, or actually a fork used as a hook. I thought it was super cute. I didn't buy it because I didn't love the execution, but it gave me the idea that we have all this extra silverware. Last week we used one for like a creamer spoon, and I want to make our own. But I also want to show you guys how to use Iron Orchid Designs paint inlays because we get a ton of questions about them. They're really not that hard if you follow the directions that are on every single paint inlay. We do it a little differently just because we're lazy, but we're going to go through all those steps. So first things first, I'm going to start painting the blocks. Deb, would you hand me crinoline? I'm going to do a couple crinoline ones because I want to use the Delft Traditions Noir, which is black.
I will be right back. I've got to grab pliers to bend these spoons because in the chaos this morning, those got forgotten. And I'm just going to hit these with a quick sand instead of using...
Sue says, on my Rust leggings, how are they fitting? So the Rust leggings fit true to size. I have a small, and it fits me. I'm about 140 pounds these days. These are, by the way, before I get started, these are those green biker shorts that we showed on the shop tour last week. I forgot to show you that they do indeed fit, even though they look like they're this big. And they're like ribbed and super soft and comfy. I'm wearing a small medium. So I would say if you're thicker in the legs and the bum, definitely go for a large, extra large, because these are small mediums. So, all right, on that note, let's get to painting. So you want to do a coat of paint, let it dry. Then on your second coat is what you're going to put your paint inlay in. I feel like that always works best. Then you've got thin coats. Even though it looks like we've got full coverage in one coat because this is raw wood, I just feel like it's better practice to do two. So that's what we're going to do. I'm using crinoline. I've got aviary, I think skeleton key, and apothecary. So we'll try to use all of those colors. They're just what I grabbed quickly. We're a little bit late, I'll tell you while Zeb's outside, because Zeb bought that Suburban we've been talking to you about, and he wants to get new tires and wheels for it. But in order to do that, I was like, well, we can go ahead and buy them, but before you buy them, we need to list our old tires that are basically brand new that we had for another Suburban that won't work for this one. And so this morning when we were going to get wood and I was taking care of the garden and chickens, he was pulling down tires and photographing them. And that made us a little late. So it wasn't my fault. Okay, I'm just going to heat gun this. Debbie, we are making apron hooks and coat hooks, and we're going to be using paint inlays, and for the hooks, we're going to be using silverware. We have tons. My friend Angie, who actually lives by the shop, gave me a bunch of silverware, I think last year, and I'm finally getting around to using it. So I'm just getting my first coat of DIY paint and crinoline on, and then as soon as that's dry, I'll pick my paint inlay, and then I will put a second coat and then put my inlay on my piece.
All right, I think I'm almost ready now.
You're good. I'm already doing exciting things. And I also tattled on you.
For what?
As to why we were late.
That has nothing to do with it.
It did take time to photograph your tires.
Yeah, but we were back here in plenty of time. I took too long cutting this out.
You got to make decisions. Okay, it wasn't the Suburban. Okay, so the Delft has some all-over transfers, some border transfers. There's a lot of different options. So I'm going to decide what I feel like is going to work best on this piece. Kind of like the all-over stuff. But I've got to look at all my options. These ones are kind of cool.
All right, so we got a bunch of these silver spoons. Our neighbor gave us some we found. We get these at the thrift store typically, super cheap.
Yeah, if we find silver plate at the thrift store, we pick it up, and then we actually eat off a lot of it. Like all of our silverware is thrifted.
So you can see the pattern there on the back end.
Some people think silver plate is priceless. It's not. We sell these. We have some on the website for like $4.95 maybe. So I probably should have cut that nice and square, but I didn't. So fine. Second coat of crinoline going on here. Do not make your paint too thick.
These ones are fun.
The thicker you make your paint, the harder it is not to get like lines on your inlay because the lines of the paint, you know.
These ones are so precious that they have like leaves and dirt inside the bag here.
Hey, you know what? They lived in a garage.
I'm going to keep these bigger serving spoons. Those are worth something.
So if you don't want to get lines where the edge of your paper is, just push down on just where the paint is. That's kind of my little pro tip. Have you ever seen it where you definitely see these edges and they're like crazy, like stiff? Because people put a lot of weight on the edges. I just try to put weight down where I actually want the paint to transfer. Next up, you're supposed to have a mister bottle. Eliza has absconded with mine for hair. So I'm just gonna use a damp rag because everybody has a rag at their house. This is an easy way to do it. You don't want to get the paint overly wet, like the DIY paint, because you could wipe it off. So I'm just getting where the image is damp. And you want it to be translucent. And then it will become opaque when it's ready to add more water. Actually, there we go. Get it a little more wet. There we go.
Do you want me to hold off painting these? Because you're
you got to do first coat and then you put it into the second coat. So you just get to paint in whatever color you want.
Okay.
We're going to set this out in the sun to dry and I'll work on some other ones.
You know, I'm going to use this skeleton key you got out. And possibly some dark wax because skeleton key dark waxed is my favorite.
I'm just going to... Oh, go ahead.
A lot of this wood was just small little bits of scrap. Like this was double this size, but this is like leftover alder from making a table. And so I just cut that down. It's not quite 2x4 thickness. I think it's 4/4 is what we'll call it because that's the way I get it from the lumber yard. 1/4 of an inch is how they measure over there because this is not planed down. So it's the actual thickness it says it is. Whereas like your traditional 2x4 or 2x6 or whatever, or even like 1x at the hardware store is going to be planed down to like 1.5 inches on the 2x and 3/4 of an inch. So for every inch at the hardware store, they plane it 1/4 of an inch. And that's how they get like nice, smooth, straight boards is they plane it straight.
We all know some of the hardware store boards are not great.
This is kind of a rustic cut. I was making it all fancy and it's uneven.
Oh,
it's gonna make my eye twitch.
Not uneven wood. What are we going to do? It's supposed to be charming.
Yeah, well, I think
instead of uneven, change the, is it adjective?
Yeah.
I'm not very good at English.
Descriptors.
It's a long story, but it has to do with the way they taught English in my elementary school. We got taught creative writing, not like proper writing. I never dissected sentences, so I never know what it is. A noun, verb, adjective, those things are lost on me. I just write the way that I speak. So if my English is off on my posts, then you know why. I also spoke a lot of Spanish growing up, so...
When she gets tired or when her anxiety is spiking, she says her sentences backwards.
Like how you, like kind of like Yoda, but also how you speak Spanish. My brain just it's like my backup, I guess. When I reboot, I don't know.
It's what she spoke to all her friends when she was a kid.
Yeah. And the duty guards that didn't speak English. I lived in the U.S., but we lived on, when I say a border town, I mean like there was a fence separating us. And so there were lots of people that lived in my town and worked in my school that did not speak English.
There's like 1 million people on the Mexico side and like
Not so
20,000 people on the US side.
I don't know how many Calexico has. It was a pretty great childhood, but because of that, I do speak differently. I always like when people correct me. I'm like, you know what? Go correct yourself. Feeling saucy today, if you can't tell. Yesterday, we had a comment. People have been asking us a lot. I'll just go ahead and yak about it while I'm painting because I'm not really giving any instruction right now. People ask us a lot about weight loss because I have lost about 40 pounds in the last year and a half. People really didn't notice my weight loss until about the last 10 pounds. And somebody's like, I thought you said you used medication and you said diet and exercise.
She said pills specifically.
She said pills. First of all, I don't take pills. It's an injection. Second of all, it's not just that. I have a thyroid problem, hormone imbalance, deficiency in iron, pre-diabetic, high cholesterol, lots of issues that I'm working with in my bag of tricks. And so it's not just one thing that has done it. It's definitely diet and exercise. That's something I've always worked on. Anybody that knows us or has been around us, Zeb and I lead a very active lifestyle. We don't sit very often. Constantly going up and down the stairs, working out, cleaning, gardening, painting. And then we try to eat decently well. We're not perfect, but it's like a full package. But it was really irritating. I'm like, you just assume that that is a miracle. And I think everything in life has to have balance. So if you're watching, person who commented to who I responded to, that is my response. And if you're not watching, it's just good for everybody else to know. It's like really good if you are struggling, if you tried diet and exercise and it's not working, to go see your doctor and get checked out because you could have other things going on. And sometimes no matter what you do, there's just some things you need help with. And I also do a lot of holistic stuff. I get foot zones every week. And interestingly enough, since I've lost these last few like 10, 20 pounds, my foot zoner is like, yeah, everything else is really well balanced. Sometimes people try to fix everything else, but they can't quite get the weight under control. And sometimes if you can get that under control, a lot of other things fall into place.
Well, that's what our doctor is a big proponent of, the gal that we go to. And
that also deals with Zeb's Hashimoto's and my thyroid.
She's the one that found my Hashimoto's because she's a hormone doctor. But she was like, listen, let's work on the weight first, and then let's see if the weight fixes all these other problems you're having. And it has fixed a lot of things.
Yeah. I have arthritis and neuropathy issues that are hereditary. My sister's on here, so she could tell you all about the cholesterol situation that is our family. And having a thyroid problem can also affect your cholesterol. Like there's so many things that are intertwined. And I know people that have done the same pill, which is not a pill, but medication that I've been on that helps regulate my blood sugar and hormones. And they didn't lose any weight. So it's not like.
Well, likewise, like cholesterol could be hereditary. You could be skinny as a stick and have high cholesterol.
Yeah.
Like my friend Kent, he's 70 something years old, was doing 100 push-ups every day and walking 5 miles with his wife, and went into the cardiologist and they're like, you have super bad plaque buildup. We got to do a surgery like now.
Yeah. Lucky for me, I have low blood pressure. So my high cholesterol doesn't affect my arteries the same, but still just working on it. And looking good. I have I like tacos problem. I just need to be more disciplined.
I like tacos too. Jami has 1 or 2 tacos and she orders me 6.
Sometimes I order 2 tacos and I eat a taco and a half.
I try to only eat 2 tacos, but by the time you're on the 3rd, you're just like, yeah, I'm going for it.
This is what balance looks like to me. Yesterday, I'm a sports mom, so I'm busy. Yesterday, I was busy in the evening. I actually snuck a pedicure in while Zeb was at youth group and the boys were at football. And so for dinner, I had 2 prunes, 2 meat sticks, and like 10 bites of cereal and whole milk. Cereal's not perfect for you, but there is some nutrients in there. I wasn't eating the super crappy kind. Whole milk is great for you. The meat sticks are like the really good high quality kind that don't have sugar and are like all beef, like all the good stuff. And then
they actually make them
prunes.
sweeter.
I mean, who doesn't need prunes? Well, if you're loose, you don't need prunes, but I need prunes. And then I just drink like a lot of water every day. So I feel like it's about balance. I am definitely not somebody who's ever going to be keto. I tried it and I wanted to.
She just doesn't like meat that much.
It was a lot of work to eat keto. Yeah, because I had to eat a lot of food. But also I need to be able to have not have brain fog because I have low iron anyways. I was thinking
we should
about
rename Waste Not
liver.
Wednesdays to Health Talk with Jami.
No, there's no health talk.
While we paint.
It was on my mind yesterday. So I'm like, we're going to have this conversation. We're going to get it out in the open.
Every now and then we get comments and we ignore them a lot. But every now and then we'll get a lot of comments, like a flood of them, and it gets to you. You got to get it out. You got to tell people.
And I don't want to gatekeep. I don't want people to think, well, she's not telling anybody, so it must just be some magic pill that she doesn't want people to know about. I just am careful because I don't want to assume that it's a one-size-fits-all situation. Because like I said, I know people, same medication, 0 pounds lost, or they've plateaued or whatever. I had somebody come in the shop the other day and she was asking me for advice. And I was like, here's some other things you could look into that may be causing issues.
So I used Aviary. This paint color came out, about 4 years ago? 5? It was right before we moved.
Well, we were in the old shop.
We were in the old shop. So 4 or 5 years ago. It's been really good. And it was perfect timing when it came out because everybody's gone to this olivey, sagey green on a lot of their decor. A lot of big designers are using it.
If you're just tuning in, I've done 2 coats of crinoline, and while the crinoline is still wet, I'm laying in my paint inlays from the Delft Noir inlay. That's a new one that just came out. This also comes in blue. So I'm going to set these all out to dry and go grab the one that I did earlier. That one should be ready to have the paper removed, and then I can seal it, and then Zeb will get started on the spoon stuff while I finish up all the wood and painting.
Yeah, I'm going to start bending. I'm just bending spoons, which you can do all kinds of different ways. If you have a vise at your disposal, or your spouse has a vise that you can go out in the garage or the barn and use, or the shop or whatever it is, a vise is the easiest way to bend them nice and straight. And you don't even hardly need pliers. You just go over there and bend them. It's pretty soft metal.
I just realized, did Redrick not go to agility because Brody's over here?
Maybe.
We need to make those boys go run since they're missing agility training.
I mean, he's been working out and doing football practice.
True, but... And
doubling up on agility. So hopefully he should be real nice and tough once the season starts next week.
Yeah, we have a week. Okay. I've gotten this damp again. And now is where the magic happens. Ta-da! Paint inlay success. Lay this paint side up so it can dry so you can reuse it. And then
let me show them that close.
I will. While it's still kind of wet, I have a little bit of painting lines here, and I'm just going to take my brush and go over those edges where I cut it weird.
The panty line is basically where the inlay paper, where there's no design, runs to the end, and it's almost like a decoupage line kind of, but it's in the paint because you put the inlay into the paint.
You just fix it like that, and then
so
you can also sand it a little with sandpaper too. But that works pretty good.
All right, we're going to put a spoon on this, and it's going to be amazing.
Steffi says, y'all are like my friends. We are friends. We're just hanging out. Have you done the cherry-picked and faded burlap? I have not mixed that. Do we have cherry-picked and faded burlap? Maybe we should try that next week. Here, let me paint the back of this.
And then I can spoon it up. I have these. So I had some long...
heat gun it, and then I'll distress it and wax it so that way you can put the spoon on. Because I want to seal it before you put the spoon on.
We have 2 kinds of spoons. We have these little forks.
These ones are going to require smaller ones. Are they like pickle forks? That's what I don't.
Do you want me to put the screw in here and bend this part up so like if they're hanging a hat or something, they're not catching it on the tines?
What I saw was the opposite.
It was screwed in like this, and this was flipped
up.
Yeah,
if we have to, I guess we could like sand them.
Let me see if I have a small spoon in here.
Are they really shiny? I mean, really shiny, really sharp. See, sometimes my brain is not functioning.
So this is like a sugar spoon, or my grandma had some like this that were like
faded burlap has a purple undertone, Lori. Definitely not pink. It has a cool undertone.
This one's really tarnished. Look at that.
If you guys watched yesterday's Paint-A-Palooza, we haven't updated the listings yet, but that plate and a few other things, we'll get those finished today, and I will update the listings of the things that didn't sell yet. So how well does the inlay work on ceramic tiles for coasters? I would say they work pretty good. Just make sure you're sealing them really well. If you're going to use a liquid sealer, get a mister and do liquid sealer like Big Top or Final Finishes. Half sealer, half water. Spray them with a mister bottle. Let that dry completely, then brush a sealer coat on. Do
you want to seal it first and distress it before I put the spoon on? So this is WM Rogers.
That's fine. It's worth about $3.95 to anybody who's concerned about us using
stamped US on there.
Priceless.
Yeah. So this spoon is long, so I'm hesitant to use that. I think I'm going to go with this spoon.
I really want to dry this well before I...
Are you going to wax that at all?
I am.
Before I do this on there? Okay, well, I'm going to commit to...
I just want to make sure this paint is really dry before I wax it because I don't want to smear it. You got to be careful.
I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab a scrap piece of wood I can screw down into this.
It's all right. I can carry the show. Problem is that DIY paint is sticking really good. Okay, Mike. This is where we're at. Now, I want to think what it's going to look like. Oh, that's going to be cute. So when you're doing this, make sure that it's a little bit down, so kind of on the urn is what I'm thinking, and then spin it up that way.
Here, where these
little spoons are perfect for this.
For a second.
Okay.
Oh, you grabbed my spoon that I was using. All right, so for sizing wise, I don't even know what size.
Clear wax, DIY. Do not overwork your inlay or you'll smear it. So wipe it on, leave it alone. You can come back and second coat it if you need to.
So this is a 7/64 drill bit.
I have a little dark wax on this from yesterday's projects, but it's all right.
Okay, so last week we riveted the cans when I used that silver spoon to do the handle on the tin can. And this week we're just going to screw them in. We might want to paint these or do wax or something on these. They're 3/4 inch number 6 Phillips head screws. So they won't go through. This is 3/4 inch wood and they have a little bit of a head. Plus we have the distance on the screw here.
So my wax is still really thick, but I don't want to like buff it or anything until it cures a little. So I'll come back later. So I want this to see, I want it to be there.
You want it to be here and hook up around? Okay.
I think it'd be more balanced.
All right.
All right, I'm going to go get my other ones.
I got more. Where'd you put your other? Oh, are they outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I should put inlays on those, huh?
So I'm just going to use a paper towel.
Those are still dry, so let me inlay your other ones.
This one should be pretty close, and I did this one.
Okay.
So I don't want to scuff up the spoon super crazy.
Okay, skeleton key is this color. Really pretty blue-gray. Pairs nicely with the Coastal Cottage medium rice paper. If you have not purchased any of the new rice paper, I just want to give you the good color. You know how when you go to a restaurant, they give you wine selections? I'm going to give you color selections.
Should we do some decoupage on one of these?
You can do what you want. I wanted to just do just inlays today, so we have a video on just inlays.
Oh.
I feel like people, I probably should have been more prepared for this. I did not cut anything out. Okay, we're going to swap over to lattice rose. Let's see if we got... Oh, I should have used this on one of those little squares. It's like the perfect little leftovers. I'm going to do the stripey one. You know the problem with stripes is you got to get them straight. Hopefully I eyeballed this correctly. We're about to find out. So in order to get this straight, I'm just gonna line this up on the bottom. I think I did pretty good. I'll cut that off later or just leave it. Let me get the stamp again. So this is the lattice rose, which is the inlay that completely sold out that IOD brought back a limited amount of, and we still have it in stock because I bought about 100 of them because inlays are limited release. When they're done, you can't get them.
How do you feel about my placement there?
That's crooked a little. Oh, well.
Jamie.
What? I feel like that placement's good.
Okay.
That is Jamie approved.
I just wanted to make sure it's hanging down as far as you wanted it to.
Yeah. I mostly just didn't want that to go all the way up to the top because I wanted to be able to see that floral.
Okay.
Now this one is long and skinny, so I'm either going to have to cut one in half and line it up.
Now the question is, should I put a hole in the top here for hanging this on something?
You can use your router bit, can't you? Your little keyhole.
Remember, I couldn't find my router this morning.
Oh, well, we can just add something. I don't want to drill a hole in it because I don't want to assume that somebody wants to attach it that way.
Okay.
If you make that decision for them, then they're...
I tell you what, I can just...
This, for whatever reason, I don't have 2 sheets of this. I must have used it on something else because this one comes with 2 sheets of everything. Let's swap over to the blue Delft.
I'll hide Jamie's face so this will focus. This is a square wood block, and now it looks awesome. Let's see, how does it do? Oh, it does well. It holds that real nice. Can it hold a hat? Oh, it hooks the hat good too.
Deb has about 500 hats.
Those aren't all my hats. You have 2 other humans that wear hats in this house on a regular basis.
Just trying to decide which side lines up with this.
Really, the problem is she went to the gear pickup for football and they had a bunch of last year's hats in the lockers or in the storage units.
Can you line this up?
And she bought like 8 new football hats and they're all just over there still.
I need you to figure out how to line that up.
All right.
My eyeliner upper this morning is not working. Can you fix a camera too?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Is it supposed to line up?
I'm sure there's somewhere you could cut it that it would line up. You just got to figure out where it matches.
Wait for it. Did you cut this in half though?
Yeah.
So that's why you're not lining up. It's not supposed to line up to the next sheet.
Oh.
But we can get
budget.
We can get pretty close.
And then
I'm gonna need your scissors though.
And then we'll just make sure it's in the center exactly, so that way you could put a spoon on it. You know, kind of hide most of where it lines up. Okay. Ta-da! Look, if I can do paint inlays, I promise you can too. This is like the easiest way to do it because this is like a little project. And this particular one, see how it covers the entire thing? You don't have to worry about panty lines or whatever. So when you're first starting out, it's a great way to learn how to use paint inlays. And then as you become more proficient, you can do different things. Ooh, new member. Hey, Rebecca. So you are a YouTube member, Rebecca. So make sure you go to the community tab. You can see yesterday's. You're done drilling, right?
For a second.
You can go to yesterday's video and watch our channel member live. And you can also find the free printables that members get. If you're on Facebook, it's called subscribers. And we have a JRV subscriber group. But we just posted 2 printables and a live video yesterday. And then we'll have another member live in 2 Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time.
I mean, this is pretty close here. It's not going to be exact, but we have leaves pretty much lining up with leaves.
Could you do it on glass? If you wanted it to be clear, you'd have to use liquid patina, and so it might be slightly cloudy. But
it would be tricky. I've not tried it on glass. Have you?
Could. All right, Jack, just leave them downstairs. I'll go through them. Jack's getting all of his right there.
Right there's great.
Jack's getting all his jerseys out because their jerseys are not here, and they've got a exhibition, Lehigh against Lehigh games. It's called the Jamboree on Saturday. And so we've got to provide jerseys for all the new kids that don't have old ones from last year. And I happen to be the team mom, and Zeb's the team dad.
Lehigh's kind of fun because we have two high schools that are both 6A high schools in Lehigh. 6A is about 2,000 students, and they go from sophomore to seniors here at the high schools. Junior high is 7th through 9th grade here in Utah, well, at least in our school district. And so but we have 3 teams just from the Lehigh high school boundaries, and then Sky Ridge up the hill. I don't know how many teams they have. They probably have 3 or 4 teams in each grade too. And then we go and play all the other cities, and they have a big championship at the end of the year. It's a lot of fun. And the Jamboree, they get to play the other teams
from Lehigh.
It
just gets them ready for the season. And it also is a moneymaker for the league because they charge every family like $25 to get in. And you pay $25 to get in for your whole family. And then you also volunteer time, and you also buy Lehigh swag.
All right. Are you wanting to do this blue on my...
It's on here.
Jami, are you wanting to do the blue on my green?
I think aviary and the blue would be pretty together.
Okay. I'm going to do a coat on here then.
I haven't tried an inlay yet. If you have an inlay, this is your reminder to just give it a try. And you really, little projects like this, if you follow the exact same steps, you've seen me do it live. So I think sometimes on edited videos, people think, oh, they must have done something that they didn't film. Like, you've seen me do the entire process live. This is just one of the easiest way to do it. And doing it on raw wood means your paint's going to adhere really well. You're not going to have any adhesion issues. So just a really foolproof way to try it. And if your inlay is blurry, that means it was too much water. If your inlay doesn't transfer well enough, and you didn't wait long enough, or the paint wasn't wet enough when you put the inlay in, or you didn't use enough water. So like, those are a few troubleshooting things. But small wood projects like this are just a good way, or just like things you buy cheap at the thrift store. This is all leftover from who knows what, I don't know. Do you need the rag? You might want to get it a little wet.
Yeah, I'm just pressing it down in right now.
And one inlay is going to do a lot of little projects, so you get your money's worth.
Yeah, we're still on our first pack, and we've done probably 4 or 5 projects now.
Yeah, well, I just opened up the black ones. I hadn't used those yet. I just used blue.
Okay. Just going to get this nice and saturated. Do you have the brayer out? I feel like this is a prime candidate for the brayer.
If you sand it and it's like any of the red colors, you can have powdering. Like, that just happens because of pigments powder. So you got to be really delicate when you're sanding it, or do the technique where you do half sealer, half water, and spray it and set it and sand it. But even then, you got to be careful, because when you sand it, you could still have smearing. It's just paint. Because it's just raw paint. The inlay does not have any kind of sealer in it. So that pigment, you sand it, it could smear. Like, it's kind of like if you're used to sanding DIY paint, if you stenciled with DIY over DIY and you're used to it. One trick though is to blow it off. Don't wipe it off, like when there's powder from distressing. And also if you're going over a lighter color, that can be a little bit more difficult. Just keep that in mind.
Okay, so because I have this nice big flat surface, I took the opportunity to use the brayer and push that paint down in there nice. Jamie was talking about having too much water. I got a little bit of murkiness right here on these flowers. They bled out because I got it too wet.
Brenda said she sealed it and let it dry and it's still smeared. I don't know. Unless I'm there. I haven't had that problem, but I'm also really ginger. I don't know how to explain that, but like I'm very delicate when I'm working with them because I'm aware that it could smear. So also if you're using there's a lot of things. If you're using a higher grit sandpaper, this is 220, but even 320, just lighter sandpaper. Like I'm just going to go on the edges on this. I'm not going to bother to actually distress the actual inlay. Usually the inlay has enough distress on it that I don't really have to because I'm not super perfect at getting them on.
Do we want to do any with forks?
Like I could sand this. It'd probably be okay.
I feel like forks are going to just poke people.
Do you want to show them up close? You get a little bit of smearing when you sand it like that, but it just makes it look distressed.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends on what you're considering smearing and what you want it to look like. That's smeared a little, but that's just the nature of them.
How much are you going to sell these little blocks for?
I don't know.
With a silver spoon.
$12.95 with a silver spoon, maybe $14.95 because the spoon's worth about $4. Inlaid paint, wood, time, so maybe $13.95, somewhere in the middle.
All right, what are your feelings on these ones? Because we have that longer board, I could bend them up a little more and we can do like a longer little thing. I think I'm going to do these spoons. Let's do 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
A dry paper towel also. Pull up just the. And again, this is a little bit of the black did get on there, but it just adds to the age. If you're doing red, that's probably red and orange can be the most difficult.
So I just used my thumb to bend that over there. And I just made a hook.
I'll bring these up close so you guys can see them.
So I'm using the pliers to kind of lock out the bend because I don't want it to bend like farther up. And so it's just holding it there and bending right where I'm holding the pliers at.
So you can see there's a little bit of smearing, but to me it's just adding age. So if you don't want any smearing, just don't distress them. But I don't think that looks bad. Again, it's black and not red. Red and orange are just going to be difficult, or like a really bright pink. I just wouldn't distress those. I have, but you got to be aware that it could happen. You could have a struggle.
So what are we going to do with that screw? I don't like that bright, shiny silver screw.
Oh, we could put we could sand it and put a little dark and decrepit on it.
Okay. Or maybe just some dark wax.
I'll let you be in charge of that because I'm doing the other steps. You're going to be the screw and spoon and fork guy.
Are we going to use any forks is the question. I haven't used any yet.
Are you worried about it being, like I saw with the fork, I thought it was okay, but if you don't like it because you're worried about it being too pokey, we could just use
I just don't want it, like, if I'm using it for hats, stabbing a hole in the back of my hat after I
totally
hang
valid.
it 20 or 30 times.
We could do just spoons.
It's okay if you're like putting an apron hook over it, but if something's resting on there, I think it would just fray it. Could use this knife. This butter.
I'm just using DIY clear wax. That is another thing. Like if you're going to be sealing it, if you're using a harsh chemical and it smears it, that could also be an issue. I'm not saying that this is the only product you could ever use on these. I'm just saying you got to look at all the
It's pretty tried and true.
Yeah. I only use the products that I know I can expect certain results from. And once I like stuff, I'm not really going to go try new things.
It's true. We eat at all the same restaurants. Once we find something we love, we're like, yep, that's all I'm going to have for the rest of my life.
So it says you could take the tines off the fork or curl them.
Oh, you could curl the tines, huh? Maybe I'll try that on one.
Kathy, I have lost weight. If you watch the replay on this, I actually, in the beginning, talked all about it because it is definitely something that comes up a lot. They also said maybe a butter knife. Would that look weird?
Let me see. Let me see
I'm
if
gonna
I
go grab
have one.
the skeleton key one and get that one finished.
So this could work, although like it's like forged. The handle is silver and this is like stainless. So I don't. Maybe I could just bend that up. I don't know. It feels like it's gonna crack.
Yeah, stainless is not as soft as the silver, and a lot of the knives are stainless on the bottom.
I don't think I have any knives in this set. This is all just forks and spoons. I do have this one, but then we're back to pointy because it pointed out a little bit.
This one was not as perfect, but my skeleton key was a little bit drier when I laid down my inlay, so I got a little bit more distress. Just know you want to get that inlay on there as quickly as you can. So I don't mind this because now I don't have to distress it. It looks amazing.
All right, glasses up.
Don't have to worry about smearing, but if you want a better transfer of your inlay, you need to be ready to go and have it in there as soon as you put that thin coat of paint on. That'll give you the best results.
You need your safety glasses.
Oh.
We don't want you getting like a stray silver wire in your eye.
Sorry, I know we need to use the milk paint color of the month. I will try to get some and have it here for next week. Caitlin has actually been asking us like, hey, can you guys use that on a video? So we'll try to.
Maybe we'll do it on tomorrow's video.
No, it's more a spraying video.
We're going to spray a bunch of stuff, but we could do like an over the spray.
We'll see how fancy we get because we are doing tomorrow's video. And then Saturday, we've got a football game. So we're going to pre-record Saturday's video. So I'm just lightly distressing the edge of this. And then I'll wax it. And this one will be fun because it's a little bit different shape than we've done in the video thus far. Are you done? Are you still screwing?
Yep.
Okay. I have used Willow, but I don't know what video I used it on. So I couldn't link it, but I know I have used it. It's like a pastel lime green. That is the best way I can describe that. Oh, thanks, Wei. She says, you make the best stencils. I still use the one I bought 5 years ago. I just bought lots of the new ones.
Oh, nice.
Thanks. We need to come up with some Waste Not Wednesdays for the new fall stencils. So maybe next week we'll figure out how, well, if we use Willow, that's not really a fall color. It's more summer. We'll figure out something to do with Willow and something to do with those stencils. Because they are so cute. And I want to play with Debbie's new stencils that we have too.
My holes are all a little off because I'm not using a press and it wandered on me. What are you going to do? Not going to lament about it, I'll tell you that. Softly
wipe off some of the excess. See, you get a little bit of
right, you're good.
The paint. Okay, that one's ready for you. I'm going to go check your big one that's out there.
Oh, come back here, spoon.
I feel like that one, I don't know how damp you got that, but it's still pretty wet.
I put a lot of paint on there. Yeah, and I did get it damp.
So
I told them.
We'll see how good Deb's turns out.
I told them I did what Jamie said not to do. I got it too wet.
I'm going to move my inlays out of the way so they don't get wet or paint on them.
You could measure. I'm just eyeballing these.
Your eyeball is usually pretty accurate. My eyeball is questionable at best. What did you do to this?
Do to what?
Did you do this to it?
Where?
It was like a half circle.
Oh, yeah, it spun it up there.
I don't do that.
Just touch it with get it with the thing. Yeah, the drill caught it. Spun it up.
Look what you did. It's all right. It's a little distressed. It's fine. I fixed it. He just had like where the metal on the side. Thank you for sharing, Wei. I still think it's cute. I'm calling it. And these are a little dark. Once the wax dries, they'll be a little bit lighter. I missed waxing the top of this.
All right, I got one more. I got to drill a hole in.
Also, my wax has a little bit dark wax because yesterday I was using dark wax. So,
all right.
Safety glasses up. What were we watching? Oh, I was watching another YouTuber, no names you mentioned, and she had a crew at her house redoing her kitchen, and there was this guy doing all this work. No ear protection, no safety glasses. I was like, and he's like an actual contractor, so you worry about OSHA for that.
Well, you just worry long term.
They said they think you put the inlay upside down.
On what?
I don't know. These, there's really no right side up. This one, the flowers
These go both ways.
Both directions.
Yeah, they go both directions.
This one, yeah, these are facing up. That's facing down. So
and
there's
it's
really
all on the same thing. It's just so it's like a repeating. It's like wallpapers, kind of like a repeating pattern.
All right, thanks, Caitlin. She dropped a link to our inlays. So if you're needing some paint inlays, we got them for you. I'm going to give Zeb's inlay just like a minute longer to dry.
It's going to need some more time.
Yeah.
So I will.
Oh, they think you maybe put paint side up. Did you put paint side down on your inlay when you put it on that?
No. I mean, maybe.
I'm going to go check.
There's a chance that I was not paying attention to that and did that.
You sure did.
Oh, that's funny. All right, we'll pull it off and we'll that's why when I was getting it wet on the front, why it was smearing.
It's going to look a little flow blue.
Is it even going to go through?
Of course it's not going to go through. You just decoupage paper on
Get it wet again.
Let's go the other way.
I decoupaged it. Here, sand that smooth a little. Well, you know, I'm just here to show you guys what not to do.
This is not the first time that Zeb has done this on live videos.
It's not. I did it on those chairs we did.
Twice on the chairs.
And then one time I did it twice, and one time I did it upside down on the same video. All right, you're gonna want this.
Why is there white paint on this?
I don't know. Is that paper? That looks like paper.
No, it's not. It's fine.
You're going to paint over it. All right, these ones, I'm tempted to use those little forks and try to
That's
curl.
why I was looking so dark, because you had paint tied up.
That's also why it smeared on me.
I'm wondering if I should just do a different inlay.
Could.
I think it's okay.
It's not going to hurt anything. I think it'll be fine. You didn't really use up any paint. I got like one little smear. Yeah, if you just line up the paint on the paint, you're going to be good.
Oh, that's not straight.
Let's see. Do I only have one of these tiny little forks?
I don't know if it's going to be right, but we're going to do our best. At least I can guarantee you that it will be the correct side down.
Jamie's got that.
The problem, though, is that this is warm and the paint dried pretty quick. So,
well, and you're going to be fighting, the paint underneath. Oh, you're going to definitely need to move more paint on that, Jamie. Like your paint's already dry. All right. All right.
If it doesn't work, I'm going to do it on the other side.
Okay.
I love that you even used the brayer on it.
I know. I was getting that stuck down there so good. What are you running water on?
I forgot to turn it off. All right. So this is the last one. Just gonna. Aren't transfers easier to do? Yes, but they don't give you the same look. So a transfer is going to look more like a sticker, and the paint inlay looks like paint because it is paint going into paint. There's no edge of the sticker. If this doesn't work, I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. Start completely over with a new inlay. But it'll be all right. It's just paint.
Okay. All right, so those aren't all even, but they are bent over. So now they're less pokey. I don't even know if you can see that. Let's block Jami up. Won't focus. There we go. I'm going to try to bend this one down a little more because it's sticking up to the sky.
This is not the recommended way to heat gun it. You should let it air dry. But I just don't have the patience for that. And if it doesn't work, I'll just flip it over and do the other side and repaint this later. Gail said that looks like it helps, Zeb. I don't know what you were doing. I was focused. I don't know.
Help to not be pokey.
I'm focusing on this project now, so.
Oh, that one got all twisted up.
Oh, looks like we're going to be okay. At least that side. We'll see.
It turned out great.
And it lined up. So
proof you can
screw up,
mess up, and
still recover.
Well, those ones I did on those leather chairs, I used the same inlay all the times. I just flipped it over.
It's not as crisp as it would have been because you did wipe off some of the paint with what you did. But I'm going to call this a win because you totally saturated the other side. You smeared it around. You braided it. You stuck it in the sun, and we still flipped it over, and we're able to get something to happen here.
And the sun is strong out there. UV 9 today. UV index is 9, and it's already 87 degrees at 11 o'clock.
I'm just going to dry this really good, distress the edges, clear wax it, and we'll be ready for the hooks. I actually think skeleton key and this may be my favorite. I also love these just because they're really great neutrals. And I think they'd be cute if somebody bought all three of them and just kind of like spread them out. You could even put them, well, I don't know if you want to put them in the bathroom because they're wax, but they could hang coats or whatever. Okay, wax. They got a little white paint somehow that came through, but we're going to chalk it up to distress. Oh, I forgot to distress the edges. Well, we're going to leave it.
So some of these tines aren't exactly straight or even. I'm not going to sweat that because bending them back and straightening them out and getting them just perfect is going to take longer than I have the patience for this morning.
We should start a show called IOD Rescue. Like
the sisters don't watch us do, they especially don't watch me because I break all their rules on like how to use products. Like they do all these trainings and teach retailers how to do stuff. And then I'm over here just like, yeah, that took too long. I'm going to do it like this. Doing the safety glasses.
Oh. What would you price this single spoon hooks? I think I'm going to do $13.95 to cover the price of product, time, and the spoon. But I think you could probably go up to 15 or 16 if you wanted to. It kind of depends on your area. Wei says she's afraid to do anything. She bought some a long time ago and hasn't done it. Wei, you fail 100% of the times that you don't try. So trying is good. And it's okay if you screw up, if you learn something and you can do something the next time.
Jamie breaking out the sports mom analogies.
Yeah, I've always got something to pick you up. Jack is the motivational speaker in his team, so he's always giving people motivational speeches.
They let him have time after practice at the end of the huddle to like give him a little.
They're like, Jack, what do you got for us today? It's funny. He's adorable. Okay. I have a little spot right here where it's not the wax. I am barely touching this to wipe back the wax, guys. Because you do not want to smear it. And it looks really dark right now. But when the wax cures up, it'll be better. And I might distress the edges a little. Let me bring this up close. And it is very faint because it didn't have as much paint, but there you go. Look at that. Boom, baby. And it's 11:06. We started at 10:10, so I think we're going to end about.
Oh, we're about perfect timing. I got to put those on that.
I will get these listed later today once all the wax is cured up and I like the way they look. They're not going to come with hanging hardware on the back because people may want to drill through them and screw into their studs, or they might want to use, like on this, I'd probably use like a French cleat because it's a big one. Maybe we'll put a French cleat on this one because it's bigger.
All right, I need you.
Or those, you could use this little sawtooth hook
to find out. Maybe go grab some dark wax or something.
Yes, I forgot about that. Let me get a little teeny tiny paintbrush. A little baby brush. And where's the dark and decrepit? Can you open that for me? Okay, we've been on an hour, so before you put these ones, can you fix that camera?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just going to take dark and decrepit, and I'm going to hopefully, whoa, this is chunky. This lid has not been on here very good.
Just a little over the top of the screw.
I don't know. What do you think?
Is it going to stick, or should we just dark wax it?
It's going to stick, but it's just going to look black.
All right, this one's got forks. With the tines bent over, holds the hat fine, comes off good, doesn't catch. That's the test. Is it catching?
Show them them up close with the. I'm using the very proficient finger method to kind of pull back some of the dark and decrepit so it's not black.
So that hides that screw a little better.
Yeah, it's not shiny. All right, you want to give me the other one?
Now this one I probably should measure on.
Yeah, this one, I mean, that's not the lucky one. Although we started at the lucky 10 out of 10, so got to keep that going. All I'm doing is just kind of darkening up these screws so it's not
25. That's an easy 12 and a half on center.
That's really cute. You like to see our garden videos? We'll try to get one edited. I might just do some shorts. I'm about to that point with the Jami and Zeb channel because we're so busy with our kids this summer. Not that we're ever not busy, but
we had 3 teenagers all at once, and Jack is 10, so he's like right around the corner.
It's like pool party season. Like I made 15 quesadillas last night after football practice, 1 for Jack and 14 for the 7 boys that were swimming in my pool. And then I just threw out some sports drinks and some candy, and the night before was a pizza. So it's a little bit crazy. I think tonight we're gonna say no people over because we'd like to go to bed at the right time. But
yeah,
I just really am enjoying the summer with my kids.
The last time I looked at the clock, it was like 12:15 last night.
You're gonna do 5 or how many?
So it's 12 and a half to center. We have 5, so that would be, let's go 5 and 10 on the mark.
You might want to line up the tops of them though.
Yeah, we'll get the board out over here in just a second.
I gotta hold my pinky up because I'm just waiting to darken your screws.
5 and
That's my official position 10. Now. I am the screw darkener. You could also probably just use like a Sharpie marker or black paint or whatever. This is what I happen to have handy.
So when you have something like this and you're trying to hang hooks or find the center of it, I always just find the center of the board, put my thing in the middle, and then I measure equal distances out. I measure, so that's 12 and a half. And then I do, because it's so hard to do the math and figure it out. I've done it 100 times, and I used to have a good system. And over the years, I'm just like, no, that's too much work. I'm just going to measure them real fast.
The 3 forks one. Okay, if one of these is 13, this one's probably going to be like 28 because it's got 3 on it. And I don't know about this one. We'll see. This one is yet to be determined. Once the wax cures, I got to see how cute it is. I think I'm going to like it. My hand, do you ever wax and your like hands are all like waxy? I always have to use warm water and dish soap to get the wax off I don't like the way it feels. We could have bought the one that they had at the Goodwill to show you guys, but they didn't use tarnished silver. It was just like a regular fork. So I didn't love it. It wasn't my jam. There's probably somebody like on the other side, you know, that's already gone to heaven and they're watching us and this is their silverware and they're like, what did you do to my precious silverware? I rescued it from the garage.
Hey, listen, everything turns to dust. Nothing is safe from time.
Carol says, I'm inspired by you both doing my first craft fair in 2 weeks in Vancouver, Canada, using your paint, of course, and IOD. I love that. That's fun. We don't have as many craft fairs here. I just don't think it's as popular as it used to be, but a lot of people do come into our shop and buy some of our upcycled, remade stuff, and that's fun. I need to learn to determine how it's silver. Well, like you can tell because this is tarnished. So stainless steel isn't going to tarnish like this.
It also will usually say somewhere.
Yeah, they say WM Rogers or whatever.
Another easy way to tell is put a magnet to it. Magnet won't stick to silver.
Unless most of the silver plate is
gone.
If
the silver plate's gone, then you might get some sticking, but.
You could use rub and buff if you had it on the silverware. If you wanted to change it up or on the screws.
Because silver is non-ferrous, like gold. Same trick works for gold.
They're talking about freezing camping. Zeb's gonna take a last minute camping with the boys at some point. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, I think tomorrow. We'll go during the afternoon, get all set up. I'll bring them back for practice because that's the joy of the 40. We're half hour away from, well, we're only probably 20 minutes away from practice. We'll get all set up. I'll take them to practice and we'll come back and have dinner and play around tomorrow.
I might stay here.
It's your call.
It's still a little warm for me.
We'll just go in the afternoon.
It's hot in the afternoon. I like this one with more spoons.
Yeah, and these are the thin spoons. I used like the really thin long ones.
Oh, the teaspoons?
No, I don't know if they're teaspoons. They had just a really long handle on them.
No, I think those are teaspoons. Tablespoons are wider. That's cute. So you can see that the wax is starting to dry. It's looking a little splotchy. But once the wax dries all the way, the inlay paint and the aviary will be much lighter, and you'll be able to see the design more. All right, let's do.
Yeah, I promised Jack we would go camping before the summer was over because he didn't get to come to youth camp with the kids. Because Eliza and Redrick came to youth camp with us because he's not. The youth camp is for like 12 and up, 12 to 18, and he's 10, so he didn't make the cut.
All right, let's show them all of our work here.
Okay.
Display these projects. So we used crinoline, skeleton key, and aviary.
I'm going to try to zoom in.
We used the Delft Noir inlay, and we also used the Delft, whatever the blue one is called, inlay. And then this is
we did get 4 of those.
Lattice rose.
All right, we'll get you a good
scrap wood and some silverware. All right, Zeb's gonna fix the camera. Sorry, guys. Azure. That's the blue one. Can you angle it down a little bit?
Yep, I'm trying without disconnecting.
Well, I can also just move these up.
No, you're fine. Now you have to move it anyway.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go. Put these up so you guys can see them. And then this one's,
and then that one. The
still
blue's
drying.
gonna, once that dries out and that wax cures, you'll really be able to see that blue inlay on there.
Yeah. All right, guys, thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, please tell us you like it by hitting that share button. Give us a thumbs up. Visit JamiRayVintage.com for your paint products and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY.
We'll see you guys on the next episode.